Have you ever just had that feeling that our history is incomplete? You know, like there's a whole chapter that's been ripped out, a story that we've all somehow forgotten? Well, today we are diving into a unified theory from three really remarkable thinkers who believe they found the pieces of that exact story. Together, they form what you could call a Triptych of Remembrance, and we're about to see the full picture. It all starts with this one powerful idea from geological explorer Randall Carlson. Just let that sink in. The idea that our world, everything we see, is literally built on the ruins of a previous one, a world destroyed by some catastrophe we don't even remember. Then, journalist Graham Hancock adds the human piece to this puzzle. He argues that we're not just living on the wreckage, we are the survivors. And we're walking around with this profound collective amnesia about who we once were and what we were capable of. And finally, polymath Robert Edward Grant brings in the last piece of this incredible puzzle, a message, a transmission really, from that forgotten past, hidden right out in the open, encoded in the most massive, enduring structures on the entire planet. I want you to think of this like a triptych, that ancient art form with three panels that all come together to tell one single unified story. Each of these researchers, they represent one of those panels. And today, we're going to open it all up and finally see the whole picture they're painting for us. So we're calling them the Rememberers. You've got these three guys, each coming from a totally different field: geology, journalism, mathematics. And yet somehow, they've all stumbled upon a different facet of the very same hidden truth about our past. And what's amazing is that together, their work forms this kind of complete circuit of remembrance. It's so logical. First, you have to understand what happened, the event that made us forget. Second, who were we, the people who were forgotten? And third, what did they leave us, the message they fought so hard to preserve? All right, let's open that first panel. This is all about the work of Randall Carlson. His research gives us the what happened. It provides the backdrop, the cataclysmic event that didn't just change history, it literally changed the face of the Earth and hit the reset button on humanity. So, Carlson's main thesis is called the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, and the story goes something like this. Roughly 12,800 years ago, our planet flew through the debris of a disintegrating comet, and fragments of it slammed into us. Now, this wasn't just one bad day. We're talking about a global catastrophe that flash melted the ice caps, triggered continent-spanning floods, and just wiped out the giant animals of the Ice Age. And look, this isn't just a cool story. This is where it gets really interesting. Carlson grounds all of this in hard geological data. You can go see the channeled scablands in Washington state. It looks like a biblical flood tore through there yesterday. And scientists have found this thin layer in the soil all over the world from that exact time, filled with nanodiamonds and a spike in platinum, telltale signs of a cosmic impact. And this is the crucial connection Carlson makes. Why were ancient peoples so obsessed with geometry and building these massive stone structures? He argues they weren't just temples, they were knowledge capsules. They were designed by the survivors of a previous catastrophe to encode cosmic and scientific wisdom in a format that could survive the next one. Okay, so that brings us to the second panel. If Carlson explains what happened, Graham Hancock comes along and asks the next logical question: who was lost in this cataclysm? Who were these people who had this incredible knowledge to build these survival capsules in the first place? Hancock looks at all these weird puzzles in our history, like how did agriculture and civilization just suddenly appear out of nowhere? Or why were cultures all over the world who supposedly never met all building pyramids and telling nearly identical stories of a great flood? He says, wait a minute, these aren't coincidences. He thinks they're the fingerprints of a lost, advanced maritime civilization whose survivors spread across the globe after the cataclysm, sharing what they knew. Now, let's be clear, Hancock's work is, well, it's pretty controversial. Mainstream archaeology often dismisses it, but his whole position isn't about having all the final answers. It's about opening the question for investigation. He points to all this evidence and just asks, why is the academic world so resistant to even looking into this? Why does this whole topic provoke such a strong, almost angry reaction? And that leads us right into our third and final panel, Robert Edward Grant. And honestly, this one might be the most mind-bending of all. Because if Carlson gives us the catastrophe and Hancock gives us the civilization, Grant claims to have found the actual message they left behind. And it is breathtaking. Grant's work centers on the Great Pyramid of Giza. And what he shows is that within its geometry, its angles, its measurements, you can find an absolutely staggering number of fundamental mathematical and physical constants. We're not just talking about pi and the golden ratio. We're talking about the speed of light, the precise duration of the Earth's precessional cycle. I mean, this is knowledge that our history books tell us should have been totally impossible for a so-called Bronze Age culture to have. So here's the absolute game changer, the point he makes. The Great Pyramid was never a tomb. Get that idea out of your head. It was a transmitter. It was a textbook written in the universal language of math and geometry designed to preserve the highest science of a civilization for tens of thousands of years, just sitting there waiting for a future culture to get smart enough to read it. Okay, so now let's step back. Let's look at all three panels of this triptych together. This is where you see how these separate theories aren't separate at all. They click into place to form one single cohesive and frankly jaw-dropping narrative. You see how this works, right? Each theory basically needs the other two to make sense. Carlson's Catastrophe gives you the reason why a whole advanced civilization would vanish. Hancock's Lost Civilization gives you the people, the ones who would have had this advanced knowledge and every reason to preserve it. And then Grant's decoded math from the pyramid, well, that gives you the proof, the hard data that this knowledge was real. So here's the complete story, the grand synthesis. Once upon a time, an advanced civilization existed. A cosmic catastrophe nearly wiped it out. The few survivors, these magicians of the gods, as Hancock calls them, scattered around the globe carrying the seeds of their knowledge. They built these incredible structures to act as time capsules, encoding their highest science into geometry so it would never truly be lost. So what are we supposed to take away from all this? Well, from Carlson, you get a chilling warning. These cosmic cycles are real, and we are absolutely not immune. From Hancock, you get a promise, a sense of hope. Humanity has reached incredible heights before, and that potential is still deep inside of us. And from Grant, you get the key. The wisdom isn't gone, it's just locked away, encoded and patiently waiting for us to remember the language. This unified theory, it really leaves us with this powerful call to action. It's a challenge, really. A challenge to look at our world, our history, and ourselves in a completely different light. To realize the evidence for this lost chapter is all around us. It's in the geology beneath our feet. It's woven into our oldest myths. And it's silent in the perfect geometry of ancient stone. And in the end, this triptych of ideas, it really just acts as a mirror, doesn't it? It forces us to wonder if our modern civilization, with all our incredible technology, might just be rediscovering a tiny fraction of what we once knew. It asks us to look at this whole story, and then to look at ourselves and decide what we choose to remember.